A sharp turn of fate, how one bold word saved a company and changed everything. In every huge city that never sleeps, amidst an endless sea of lights, flow millions of human lives. Each is a separate story. A story about love and betrayal, about falls and hope. This is one of them. A new story. A new destiny. Get ready to listen to a story aloud. A heartfelt story that brings tears. Light rain outside the window, distant car horns. Emily stood by the window of her tiny apartment in a huge American metropolis, wiping raindrops off the glass with her finger. Only a day had passed since her world collapsed. Lex. His name still echoed with pain in her chest. A classmate. A guy with a charming smile, whom she had been so foolishly and selflessly in love with. He had been her new hope, her new beginning in her first year at the foreign languages faculty. Together they dreamed of conquering the world. Together they crammed complex Chinese characters, made plans. It all turned out to be a lie. Sound of a phone ringing, Lex's voice on voicemail. Indifferent Lex, Emily, no hysterics, okay? Yes, you got it right. I'm with Jessica. It just happened. But look at it soberly, her father is the dean. That opens doors to any university in the world. And your doors? Your door is the entrance to the dive where you work. Life is about opportunities. Sorry you're not one of them. Sound of a phone dropping to the floor, then silence, interrupted by suppressed sobs as words cut deeper than any knife. Not one of them. Her new life, her dreams of love and partnership, turned to dust. Only the gray reality remained, studies that now made her sick, and work. Work as a waitress in the luxurious Zenith restaurant, where she, in a perfectly ironed uniform, served those whose lives were full of those very opportunities. Restaurant sounds, muted hum of voices, elegant jazz music, clinking of glasses, clattering of dishes. It was on such an evening, when her soul was still bleeding and tears welled up treacherously in her eyes, that the head waiter nodded dryly towards the closed VIP room. Table 7, Emily, Chinese delegation, and Mr. Blake. Be perfect. This is very important. Emily's heart tightened. Of course. Important. As always important for someone else. 3 men sat at the table. 2 were Chinese businessmen. One older, with a wise and calm face, named Mr. Lee. The second younger. Opposite them was an American, Mr. Blake, owner of a large tech firm. His face was pale, sweat glistened on his forehead. He was nervously fiddling with a napkin. Next to him was his translator, Mr. Zhang, a man with an unpleasantly shifty gaze. Emily mechanically performed her duties, served water, took away menus. Her thoughts were back in yesterday. But her ear, honed for years to hear the tones of Mandarin, involuntarily caught snippets of phrases. Mr. Blake was speaking passionately, almost pleadingly. Mr. Blake tensely, you have to understand. This is our last, best offer. We are reducing the price by 15%. All we need is an exclusive on supplies for 2 years. This will save my company. The translator, Mr. Zhang, translated briefly, his voice flat, arrogant. Mr. Zhang in Chinese, coldly, he says this is their final position. They are not willing to negotiate further and demand exclusivity from you at the lowest possible price. This is an ultimatum, Mr. Lee's face froze. He said something short and dry to his colleague and began to push back his chair. The deal was hanging by a thread. Emily was just bringing coffee to Mr. Blake at that moment. Her hand trembled, not from nerves, from realization. She clearly understood Mr. Zhang was deliberately distorting the words. He was turning a desperate plea into an insulting ultimatum. He was a saboteur. The cup of expensive espresso tipped over. The hot brown liquid spread across the snow-white tablecloth like the dirt from the liar's mouth. Sound of a falling cup, splashes, Emily's frightened gasp. Mr. Blake irritated, raising his voice. Good God Almighty! What is going on today? Idiots everywhere! Emily, scarlet with shame, rushed to wipe up the puddle with napkins. Her hands were shaking. She heard the Chinese politely but firmly saying their goodbyes. The deal had collapsed. And Mr. Zhang was stacking his papers with a barely noticeable smirk. Mr. Blake's company, his life's work, was on the verge of ruin because of betrayal. This thought struck her with new force. Betrayal, she knew what that felt like. And this knowledge gave her a strange, insane courage. She straightened up. Something inside her broke. The new Emily, the one who endured in silence, was left in the past. Emily's voice trembling, but growing stronger with each phrase. "Excuse me, Mr. Blake, Mr. Lee, this isn't true. He's lying." A deathly silence fell over the room. All eyes stared at her. Mr. Zhang in an icy tone, in Chinese. "How dare you, you fool! Shut up and get out of here, Mr. Lee, eyes flashing, authoritatively. "I didn't ask you, Mr. Zhang. Be silent." Addressing Emily, "Young lady, explain yourself." "What do you mean?" Emily addressing Mr. Lee, in pure Mandarin. "Mr. Lee, I apologize for interrupting, but Mr. Zhang's translation was deliberately distorted. Mr. Blake did not issue any ultimatums. On the contrary, he offers to reduce the price by 15% in exchange for exclusive supply rights. He is speaking not from a position of strength, but with a plea for help. His company is on the verge of bankruptcy, and this contract is the last hope to save jobs for 200 people. Mr. Zhang translated everything exactly the opposite, turning the plea into an offensive demand. Mr. Lee's face turned to stone. He slowly turned to the translator. His gaze was filled with icy rage. "Mr. Lee," in a quiet, dangerous voice, "is this true, Zhang? You abused our trust. You are a scoundrel and a traitor. Who bought you, Mr.?" Zhang tried to mumble something, his face contorted in a grimace of fear and anger. He looked around frantically, as if looking for a way out. "Mr. Zhang, she's a crazy waitress. She doesn't understand anything. Don't listen to her." At that moment, the restaurant manager approached. Mr. Blake addressing the manager with cold fury. "This man, this scoundrel and traitor, just tried to destroy my company with lies. He's been bought by my competitors to ruin the deal. I demand that he leave this establishment immediately." Manager nodding. "You don't need to say another word, Mr. Blake. I understand everything." Addressing Zhang, "Sir, you are disturbing the peace of our guests and committing an unforgivable act. Leave the restaurant immediately. You are persona non grata here. Your permanent client card is revoked." Sound of retreating footsteps, muffled, hateful shouts from Mr. Zhang that fade as he leaves humiliated and exposed. Mr. Zhang was thrown out. It later turned out that a competing firm had bribed him, promising a huge bonus and a job as head translator if he ruined the deal so the Chinese would sign with them. His career was instantly and irrevocably destroyed that evening. He became an outcast. Thus, his betrayal turned against him. And in the VIP room of the Zenith restaurant, silence fell. Mr. Lee sat down again. "Mr. Lee to Mr. Blake, through Emily, I apologize for this unpleasant incident. It seems we have something to discuss. Would you be so kind as to translate?" And Emily translated, first timidly, searching for words, then more and more confidently. She was a bridge. Not just a linguistic one, but a bridge of honesty and humanity. The deal was saved. The contract was signed. Hands were shaken. Mr. Blake looked at Emily, and genuine gratitude was in his eyes. Relief replaced anger. Mr. Blake warmly, "Young lady, I don't know how to thank you. You saved everything. My business, my employees' livelihoods, everything. You were more honest than someone I paid for years." And then the words that changed everything were spoken. "Mr. Blake, my personal translator is going on maternity leave. I was looking for a replacement. I think I found her. I'm offering you a job. Here, in my company. The salary is 3 times what you make here. And we need someone to come with us to Shanghai for 6 months to work with the new partners. A new meeting. A new beginning. A new reality." And so a new life began for Emily. A month later, she wasn't just listening to stories, she was living them. Shanghai greeted her with lights no less bright than those of her home metropolis. The work was challenging, exciting. She learned, grew, and the old pain slowly healed. But the new reality presented her with a new trial. Loneliness in a foreign country, homesickness, the pressure of responsibility, all of this sometimes made her cry at night in her modern, but so empty, apartment with a view of the skyscrapers. But one day, in the office of the Chinese partner company, she bumped into someone while exiting the elevator. Her folder with papers fell out of her hands. Male voice in perfect English with a slight accent. "Oh, 1,000 apologies. This is entirely my fault. I'm always rushing somewhere. She looked up and saw him. Liang, a young architect working on the project of their joint office. His smile was not like Lex's. There was no calculation in it. There was sincerity and slight awkwardness. Sound of scattering papers, laughter. This new meeting became the beginning of a new love. Unhurried, careful. He didn't rush. He showed her his city, his culture, his heart. He saw in her not just a translator from America, but Emily, the one who loves dark chocolate and is afraid of heights, but loves to look at the city from the highest floors. He taught her not just to speak Chinese, but to feel it. One evening, on the observation deck of Pudong, with a view of the boundless sea of Shanghai lights, he took her hand. Liang quietly, "You know, my grandmother used to say that fate is not a straight road. It's a river with many turns. And the sharpest turn always leads to the most beautiful place. I'm glad our river made such a turn." She looked at him, and those very tears were in her eyes. But this time tears of happiness. A story that brings tears, but tears of cleansing. She found new hope, new love, a new self. Lex's betrayal and the accident in the restaurant did not break her. They led her to a new destiny, to a life where there was room for both a dream career and a person who valued her not for her connections, but for the purity of her heart. And now, falling asleep in Liang's arms to the steady hum of the metropolis outside the window, she thought that sometimes you have to survive the collapse of the old world to find your true one. The one meant for you by the universe. The one where you find a new life and new love. Gentle, smooth music swells, becomes triumphant, and then gradually fades. This new story, it became her story. And who knows, maybe right now, somewhere out there in a big city, someone is standing at a crossroads, just like she once did. And one step, one bold word, one chance meeting separates them from a new reality, a new destiny. Listen to your lives. There is always room for a new beginning. The music finally fades. The end. Did you like this new audio story? Subscribe to our channel to listen to new episodes and heartfelt stories online. Write comments about what kind of plots you like. Listen to stories for free. Become part of our community. See you at the next premiere.